We are live. It is 3:06 p.m. Central Standard Time in the United States, 9:06 p.m. GMT in the UK. It's the Nomad Tech Project with Sam and Joe.
Hey.
Coming to you live here on Sunday, the 19th of November 2023. I just came back from the living room watching the Bears completely fucking blow a football game. You know what? God, I know I've been a Bears fan for probably more than 35 years, and today was the first day, one, where I knew they were going to blow it, and two, where I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to watch this team no more. At 3-8, I'm tired of the coaching. I'm tired of the play calling. They suck. It gets
rough. And it's like I said, there's such a pull during all game long, and then it turns into all season long, so it's tough when a bad team will find a way to lose.
Right. And they are like a heat-seeking missile.
Yeah,
they will find the one nugget of heat, and they'll go right.
Yeah, we still got opportunity to lose.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're up by 12 with 4 minutes. No problem. Let's blow this game. So anyway, I know Viper was tweeting out because he's a fellow Bears fan as well, and if he had hair, he'd probably be ripping whatever sections of hair.
Exactly.
Because we can't. Anyway. This is Nomad Tech Project, and then we have Barry Johnson in the house. Hey. I know last week we had an unfortunate situation where you weren't able to join, so thank you for giving the heads up.
Thank you for having me. I'm very appreciative.
Absolutely. And we got Joe in the house, always with nice hair. I always like your hair.
Thanks, man. I need a haircut, I think. It's getting a bit unmanageable.
On the side, it looks okay. It's not like hanging over your ears, or it's a little good. It's getting some gray, though. It's kind of nice.
Some.
Yeah, well, I got it in the beard. That's where I got. That's what as funny when I could have grown a beard when I was a police officer. It was great. It was nice. It was all dark, and then when I could grow a beard, actually, I took a picture. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago for a bank, ID badge. I was like, great. This is totally black. Not so much anymore.
Oh yeah, I feel you.
That's okay.
Mine the salt and pepper. It's all good.
Well, I think I'm way more salt. I have just a few bits of pepper here, but it's mostly salt now, so that's okay.
Well, you are about the Bears game anyway.
Between work and the Chicago Bears driving me crazy, and my daughters and my family just, being always a challenge. It's okay. So
JoJo said you have the hair club for men, Joe.
Yes, you do.
I like that. What's that mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You're overseas.
I think it's American.
Yeah, it's an American thing. So it's basically the way they advertise it. It's basically dye, but they do it in a nice way. Like, hey, you should get hair club for men, and you just put it on your beard or whatever, and it dyes it to your color of choice.
Thank you, then in the United States, we also have touch of gray. We also have
that's right. Yeah.
So. And actually, Barry, if you let it grow out, I think some stubble here. It's looking a little salty right there on the chin, right there.
You talking about me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I do have it. Yeah, no, I'm not Joe. Yeah, I do have. Yeah. So if I don't shave, and it's funny because I don't know how it is with your wife, Sam, but with my wife, when it was probably about 7 years ago, I let my beard grow, and she noticed it, and she came home and was like, if you don't cut that thing off. And I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, why do you have gray? And I'm like, because I'm getting old.
Right.
So it's like right now, this has to be shaved tonight.
Okay. So she's not that big about it. Because also she's getting older too. So she's also in a situation where, we don't look like we do when we're in our 20s. Right. Mm-hmm. So she could throw shade, and I'll tell her, hey, you're not exactly, you're not in your 20s anymore anyway. So, so we just let it grow, but it's okay. It's just funny how she says, hey, you need to get that out of here. Because I'm not about that life. That's fair.
Sam, can I just say, how good does the Nomad Tech Project logo look next to Barry?
Hey, man,
I know.
Looks good.
Yeah, it's just right. Good. It's right there. I like the logo. So Joe, you did a fantastic job.
Yeah, you did a good job with that logo.
Oh, thanks, guys.
But also too is because I was not feeling our ugly faces anymore. And which is funny because at work, they have these, I don't know if you have it where you work, but they have it's like a screen that shows it's like a PowerPoint presentation. They'll show things that are happening in the organization, right? There's pictures, and then we're doing this, and don't forget this thing on the holiday, and you're off a day, right? It's like a rotating a dozen or so slides on a slide deck. Well, they were saying that they wanted podcast picks, and I was like, okay, that's cool. and they said, "Hey, don't you have a podcast?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't know if I want to promote it in the system." By the way, they was like, "Oh no, give us a thing." So, anyways, I had the picture, right? Our old logo was just me and you, where we looked like we were basically shot in the ass with tranq darts, and and the first thing I had was, "Wow, I didn't know I have a podcast." And why did you take a picture like that? You look like you're pissed off. And it's like, I got like a dozen people sending me Teams messages going, "Hey, I saw that you have a podcast, but why does your logo look like you're mad?" And I was like, "Oh,
It's a serious podcast."
Right. It's definitely, we take very, very serious topics and we discuss those at length. As like, no, they're like, "Really? What do you talk about?" I said, "We talk about phones and tech and dumb shit and food and sports and stuff like that." They're like, "Oh, it kind of sounds like just kind of an anything podcast." I go, "Yeah, it's pretty much all over the place." So anyway, Joe, what has been going on in your life as far as everything?
Busy.
Yeah, I mean, Joe's been busy with work.
Yeah, I had a lunch break yesterday or today.
Oh wow!
Well, so is it just because the store's busy, or you're short people? Like, what's going on?
Store's busy and short. Like, someone called in sick Saturday, so that killed us. I make sure all my team have their lunch breaks though. Like,
that's good.
Leader does, right? So
right.
But yeah.
But then leader doesn't have lunchtime. Leader gets crabby. He gets hangry, and then
it's true. Yeah, it's true.
Absolutely. That's okay. Now
on the bus, do you guys have Monster energy drink?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I had it's a ginger one. It was really nice. I had that on the bus on the way home.
I don't know, Barry. Do we have ginger flavored Monster energy? I don't
know if we do.
If we do, I've never seen it. I see them in the case with all the Red Bull and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know if ginger is a flavor.
A lot of Barry had designed it. It was like a black can with like gold. It was classy.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, I just don't know if ginger's a thing here in the United States.
Ginger is
ginger
not.
Ale style.
Yeah, ginger ale. Oh, it is ginger ale style.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's weird that it isn't, because ginger ale we're cool with, but
yeah.
Absolutely, and we call him Qualcomm Joe now.
Definitely Qualcomm Joe.
Absolutely. So I guess we had MediaTek. I guess that
MediaTek with the 9300.
Yeah, that was a couple of days ago.
Guan and TK look in them pictures.
They seem very happy. They seem very happy.
Love it.
Well, then I saw a picture of Josh Vergara.
I think Trisha was there.
Hirschberger, I saw her. I can tell you that Joe, that he seems to be always happy when TK is there. He always seems.
Oh
yeah, especially when they can spend some time, which is hilarious because I think they live.
Yeah, they don't live. Yeah, but they're so busy though.
Right, they both live in Southern California.
Like I feel bad. Like I sent Juan something a while ago, and I was like, I'm just going to try to shoehorn it in. Maybe he can get the opportunity to look at it. And like, he had a million things. I was just hold on to it, Don't worry, because you got so much stuff going on. And as I'm like talking to him, TK's somewhere, like, he's all over the East. So I'm like, man.
Yeah, they seem to be really busy, especially, TK. So, and I'll tell you who's also busy. Well, maybe not busy, but seems to be always on a plane is the Unlocker. David Kogan is always on a plane.
Constantly.
I think he flies like at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh, easily.
And he must have a billion frequent flyer miles.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The Nothing phone, isn't it?
No, what I do, the Nothing phone and the Essential phone to me have the best ringtones. So every phone that I gets those ringtones.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of nothing, apparently they got themselves into a little bit of a jam the other day.
Yeah, so I guess they were doing it. I guess their first implementation was plain text.
Right.
You're talking about that, right?
Right, and then also the thing where they had to take their nothing chats out of the Play Store.
So basically what happened is, so everything is done on device, right? But encryption has to be real encryption. It can't be plain text that anyone can intercept. So they had their APK on the Play Store, and they had to pull it because someone found out that it was plain text.
Oh.
And I mentioned, like, LaShawn knows this. I appreciate when stuff like that happens very quickly. Obviously, I feel bad for Nothing because that's something that people could point to, but I used to have, I have my son on a lot of stuff. Like, he's got Xbox Game Pass, but when he was younger, he was part of Free Roam, so this was done by Sony. And I kept asking the Sony reps, I'm like, why do I have to, before I signed up, do I have to give you my debit card? I'm like, I don't think that's right. You know, I should be able to give you a credit card. I'm like, no, it has to be a debit. And they're going through all this. Don't worry, your data's safe. Well, when they got hacked, all of our information was in plain text in a TXT file, in a plain text file. And I'm like, are you guys serious? You know? So luckily, my son told me when he said he couldn't log in one day, he was like, hey, I can't log into Free Roams. I immediately called my bank and I said, hey, cancel my debit card, close this account, you know, everything. I'm like, I want a new one, you know. Go ahead.
Right. And I don't remember, and like I said, I don't understand why that is, because like if you have a credit card, like especially if you have you know, like a Discover card, you know, you're not charged for anything. If there's fraud, they'll lock the card down. The problem with a debit card is that has direct access to your checking.
To your checking account.
Empty the checking account. And you have no protection at all. That's why they always tell you, if you're ever going to make a purchase on anything, always use a credit card.
Always use a credit
card. Those are purchased. Those are protected purchases. If you got fraud, I had actually got hacked one time. I remember logging in, same thing. One day I couldn't log into my Sony, my PlayStation Network, and the address got changed to Salem, Oregon, and all they had bought a bunch of games, and Sony wound up taking it over. And I actually had it on a credit card, which is interesting.
Yeah, but another thing too. But Sony took care of you, right?
Yeah,
but you had it on the credit. But the thing if that's a debit card, let's say Sony does say, "Hey, we're going to take care of you." The issue is, let's say for instance, that's where you're living out of that account. Mm-hmm. Your money is tied up until they can take care of you. They have to do their investigation and all that stuff. So if you have other bills coming down,
I mean, I remember one time I had a Honda. I was paying off a Honda Civic, and I had Honda Finance. It was out of my checking account, and they actually debited 2 car payments. Well, there's like, well, it's going to take up to 72 hours. Like, no.
Yeah, you're like, I don't have time for 70 hours.
Right. I mean, I'm waiting. That's $500 or so, or $483 or what it was at the time. And it was like, it's funny how they say, well, we want to make sure you debit immediately, but we'll take up to 96 hours to credit your account. I was like, bullshit. I work in banking. You can ACH that, and you can
exactly
in literally 5 minutes. Don't give me that. So they got it back in 24 hours, which wasn't too bad. So. Well, anyway, so it looks like they had to pull their thing, and I'm just wondering though, I wondered, before they launched it to the Play Store, did they do any kind of regression or testing or smoke? Does anybody actually look at this code base before they put it out there and say, hey, are we actually doing the things we're going to do, or like, hey, we got this thing where we can do it, and just get it out there because it'll be all the rage? And I guess they don't realize that people are going to dig into code base.
Exactly. Right? I think they do that now. Back 10 years ago, no. The answer was no.
Yeah.
So they're like, we trust, you know, we've had our meetings with you. You're a good company. We like, and yeah. And the thing about the problem was really, even though this was a game, Free Roams, it was Sony that got hacked. It was they were the ones like, hey, we admit we have everybody's debit card information in plain text, and that's what the hacker has. So they have your full name, address, date of birth, and your debit card information.
Right, including your the day it expires and your
everything. Yep,
it's completely bonkers. So anyway, well, we got what do we got in the phone world? Let's say, Joe, you still got your same phones, right? You're not looking.
Pixel 8 Pro, my Sony. Which is telling me it needs an update later. Do it later.
Right. Don't do it now.
Don't do it now. And I've got the S23 Ultra still.
Right.
3 great phones.
Yeah. So now, how does that work with the Snapdragon one? Obviously you were given it. Could you sell it? Can you give it away? Do you have any restrictions? It's pretty cool.
Sentimental with the case. Like, I think I'll keep it for that reason.
Okay. Now, is it any different than a normal S23 Ultra with like other software, or is it just the case?
It's the 8 gig version, 8 gigabyte of RAM version. So it's not. If I was to purchase one, I wouldn't get this version, but it has got one of the exclusive colors.
Right.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's like a tangerine or an orange kind of color.
Tomato soup red.
Tomato soup. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. It's more like a bisque. It's really a bisque. It's really what it is. And then Barry, what do we got on your side? I mean, what are you testing?
Got a lot. Yeah. So right now, I'm testing the OnePlus Open, the Pixel 8 Pro, Vivo and Xiaomi from this past year.
That
Right.
OnePlus.
So I have all the tests done. I gotta film the actual video. So I even have the B-roll, all that stuff done. So very impressed with all of them, I have to say. Last year I would say when I look at everything, I really didn't like using other phones as far as cameras compared to like the Xiaomi's and the Vivos of the world. But the 8 Pros improved so much video wise. And I also like what they're doing with their HDR as well. And the OnePlus is just been phenomenal as well. So it's a good time to be into phones right now.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
It's a good time to be.
And I was gonna say, I can't think over the last couple of years when it was a bad time to be.
I know it's just like it just keeps getting better, you know.
Yeah,
It's like,
like I said, I think we're. I mean, I hate to say it, but now with flippables and foldables and everything else, I think we're kind of. I know everybody says this is the apex, this is the golden age of phones. I'm like, I really think that right now, like 2023 was the best year for, Sony in the market. We still have foldables, we got flippables. Now we've got a Moto Razors, we got the OnePlus. The I'm still waiting for if you think Google and OnePlus, if the foldable. It seems like the foldable is there. We'll do that first. That's the first thing, and then
I know you're saying will they go flip? Yeah, will they go flip?
Right.
That's that part I'm not sure about. And the thing is, so right now I think OnePlus really kind of leapfrogged foldables. And this is not to put down. I think the Samsung Flip did a great job this year, but who is going to? I'm not talking about sales. Like who's going to be the next person that's going to take on Motorola? You see what I'm saying? Like who? Like will that be OnePlus? Will that be Google? Who's going to come in and say, "Hey, Motorola, you need to go back to the drawing board. We have a better flip design."
Right.
So I'm kind of interested to see that.
Yeah, I don't think Google. They definitely don't seem to be into like the wearables. They don't seem to be in any kind of a Pixel Band or Pixel Active.
Correct.
They're into the watch, and then with their folds, I don't think they're going flippable. I just don't.
I don't see it either. I think they're going to go. They're going to go slab, and then we have premium device. I just don't think they see. I think they see it more. The flip is more as competition for their slabs. Like it's not premium enough, right? So.
Right. Do they think? Do you think that Google believes that the flip will cannibalize their slab sales? Or
I don't think it will cannibalize. I think they just don't think they have a market for it.
Yeah, I
agree. I think you're right. I think there'll be OnePlus because
they already have Oppo, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I was going to say they already get the
flip. It'll just be an iteration of that, basically.
Correct.
And somebody wrote an article, and I was reading it, and I thought it was interesting. Unfortunately, I didn't read the whole article, but basically how BBK has decided that OnePlus is the Western-facing Oppo brand. And then they're basically just going to do that. They're going to say OnePlus is our, the OnePlus Open. Any of the phones we make, we're just going to we realize it's basically the Oppo versions of a Western market, but that's what it is. That's the Western version of their same Oppo line because they're obviously not going to compete and they're not going to market in the Western markets with Oppo. Yeah, but they will with the OnePlus because it's an established brand that's been around for
correct
a dozen years now.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I thought it was an interesting play, and I think that they're probably leaning into that. Well, and really, honestly, at this point, though,
I think they should only change is if OnePlus gets a bad name. That's the only time they should change. But right now, since there's a lot of positivity about behind the brand, keep it the way it is.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how I wonder, has anybody even thought about is Apple's share growing in the U.S.? I'm wondering in 2023, now that you got the iPhone 15.
Like a market share. Usually that's something that we need to dig up. Usually Samsung and, because I have this conversation with Easy all the time, Samsung and Apple usually share how much they ship, not what they sell. So we need to kind of see.
Shippable units,
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious that I know they always do an overall market share, especially like United States, North America, and then worldwide. Correct. I'm curious to see if that trend is still kind of increasing where people are moving towards iOS and iPhone.
Yeah.
More than than they were the years. Like I said, it's a couple of percent here and there kind of thing. I'm curious what it is for the end of 23.
How's Google's growth been as well? Like
Google's growth has actually been pretty good. It's not.
I think so.
Obviously, it's not. It's. They've got growth where a lot of people aren't growing, but it's not like they're taking market share where you're like, oh, Google's at 15% market share.
Yeah, at least they're now finally doing the marketing.
That was the thing, Joe. We had zero marketing. Like even though they had the name brand Google Pixel, LaShawn and I have always been into Nexus devices, Pixel devices. Lenny the same way. They might as well have been still Nexus with the lack of marketing. Even though they were like, hey, we're changing, we're doing this, and this is all going to be us. They could have been doing Nexus with their marketing.
Yeah,
that's right, Lenny. They are doing good in Japan as well.
Yep.
Which is interesting because you would have thought that Sony would have that.
You would think Sony would have that
locked down.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's price point.
Yeah.
I think it's price point. I really think it's price point. I think maybe Japanese consumers are like, hey, we want something else other than a Sony device, and also Sony devices have usually been very high end. I mean, they've been high end. 11, 12.
And if we're another component of that too is it's much easier for someone that doesn't want to spend a lot of money on Sony like they did in the past to go to a Google device because Sony is stocking Android.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they can just slide right into the Google with and spend a little less and have some unique features.
Well, I was gonna say, then you've got the Google stuff, right? You've got the Google software features that you've got the same. Yeah, you got the same look, but you don't have exactly.
I think Google's been smart with their marketing as well. It's been very lifestyle.
Correct.
Whereas any marketing Sony do, which is very little, it's more about creators.
Yep.
More than the general public.
Well, and Sony really lays heavily on the photography and audio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that may resonate. Any of the photography does, but it's like if you make a camera that's so, it's that kind of give or take, right? So you have a camera that's extraordinarily capable with tons of features, alpha, all this kind of stuff, right? But regular people now, we have, I call it the amplification of photography. Right?
Correct.
Where I don't have to set any kind of raw or nothing. I can just take a thing and take a picture of a thing, and I don't care. So now you got this phone that's got all these features, and you can do all this manual shit. And they're like, yeah, I don't want to do all that. I just want to be able to point it and take my foodie or my duck face selfie. Right? I don't care about the fact that I'm not creating content necessarily, and I don't want to get into these features because I'll tell you, I had a Sony, and man, it's almost overwhelming if you're not a camera oriented kind of person. It's hard.
Most people, right? Listen to this, Sam. 4K 120 or best take. What do you think's gonna appeal to?
Oh yeah, people, they'll resonate with best take.
Yeah, right. Because I know
that to Joe's point, that's the one thing that I was very impressed. Like, I knew Video Boost was coming. It's coming later, right? I had no idea they had improved video based on their marketing because I heard best take, audio. Magic Eraser. I heard all these different things, Magic Editor, stuff that you can do with, I'm just snapping a photo and then I can do this stuff, this easy manipulation and send it off to my friend or send it off to my family. So that was one of the things that, just tap and go. Right. And the thing about it that it's to me, that's powerful because if we really put ourselves into the average consumer, like we said, are not saying, hey, I want to create, I want to upload this, to a family album. So.
And then tying in the Google services then as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just curious to see how that's all going to shake out in 24. So Barry, what are your predictions? Obviously we've got the Snapdragon, the Gen 3 is coming out. Clearly, the Xiaomi is already, as always, they're always kind of the first out of the game with the 14, right? So what do you think? Do you think 14 is just another year of iteration? Do you think that, are we looking at, like, I know the OnePlus 12 seems like they've got some upgrades going on over the 11 and even 10 Pro.
Correct. I think this upcoming year is where we see Sony take the lead with camera sensors. I think we're going to see that, and it's going to show off in a lot of different phones where people are going to pick up a Xiaomi phone, an Oppo phone, across board. And they'll probably even get a Samsung phone because they're going to use a new sensor as well. And it's just going to go, people are going to start to say, well, wait a second, all these phones take really good pictures. And then with the Snapdragon 8th Gen 3, they're going to say to themselves, well, wait a second, I'm getting better battery life than I did before. This phone doesn't run hot. It's snappy. And then as they start to flesh out AI features, they're going to say my phone is smarter than they were this year. So the question, to me, the question mark will be MediaTek, because if I'm sure how much you paid attention, because I know you were busy, Joe, too. MediaTek decided to do a little different. Normally we do like one or two big cores. So the trend lately has been one big core, then you have the medium cores, and then you have the smaller cores. And the OnePlus 9 Pro was able to use that to their advantage. When they were having issues with overheating like the S21 Ultra, what they did was all the apps that didn't require much, they just sent to the lower cores.
Right.
So they actually had this parity that they did, and it slowed everything down. Well, the MediaTek has 4 almost like huge cores, but they're slightly smaller. So your single core performance won't be as good as the 8th Gen 3.
Right.
But your multi-core should be better, right? Because you have four large cores and then 4 medium-sized cores, right? So you don't have that thermal efficiency of dropping them all the way down. But no one has really fleshed that out yet. We've only seen like, this is the performance that we can get out of it. It's not what are the efficiency numbers that we can get out of the MediaTek. So that's going to be the thing that I'm interested in seeing, that battle there.
It's going to be good competition. Yeah.
It's going to be good competition, which is good for us, and it makes us smile because it's like we get better and better phones every year.
Yeah, especially down to like what are you on 4nm chipsets now?
Correct.
I mean, come on now. I mentioned eventually get to 3 and then 2, but it's My question is how you obviously can't. I mean, I guess you could theoretically get to 1nm, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But then, okay, well, how much? I mean, my question is how much processing power are you going to really need, because the apps aren't really generating that much compute. They don't need much more computing power than they did 3 years ago.
I agree.
So where does that balance start to equalize?
So the only thing I can think of is this, right? So right now, if you're a photographer, so I have a lot of photographers that will watch my channel, and they'll ask me, like, you know, some of them have picked up the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, some have picked up the Vivo, some have picked up the Oppo, and some have nothing but respect for the Pixel and other devices, right? And they're like, oh, I'm going to get this, you know. But the one thing I tell photographers is, if you separated all these phones together and you said, hey, they can only use their core processor in nighttime photos or start to get dusk or dusky time, it takes longer to process on a Pixel 8 Pro, really long on the OnePlus Open, right? Whereas its daytime is not a problem. Right. Well, the difference between an Oppo, a Xiaomi, and a Vivo, they have co-processor chips on it.
Right.
So I think that's where we're going to see the biggest. So the stuff that we do on a daily basis, like render video for like do a minute video, like, hey, I'm going to make fun of Joe and Sam, like, you know, put this video together. Hey, I'm going to send this to you guys, play it or something like that. That will be fine. It's just when we start to do longer video, like actually use our phones to, you know, edit long videos, photography and all that stuff. I think that's we're going to see in the next few years improve on these. So I don't think most people will notice it. It will just be us noticing it.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
When I tried to export that video on CapCut, every phone failed. I had to do it on my tablet in the end.
Yeah, see? So there's little things like that. And also, so like the more they put into the phone, like we're doing astrophotography, we're doing stuff like that, right? It's going to be less time where we're sitting there like, oh, wait 3 seconds. And you're like trying to like get the phone to stay steady and all that. Oh, let me go get my tripod. Whereas, you know, if we have a faster processor, it's no time at all.
And a lot of using AI as well, though. Like the NPU they're putting into the chipsets now is very important. So it used to be CPU, GPU, now NPU.
I think he's talking about Lithia sensor. I think that's the Light Hunter. Let me see. Let me double check.
Yeah, so Simon asked that question. What's the name of Sony's Light Hunter equivalent?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure is I'm not sure if you pronounce it as Litia. Let me see.
Come on, Sam, fill the void.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's it's by Sony, and that's the name of their new. That's what it translates over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, and it shows my ignorance. What exactly is?
Yeah. So basically, what happened? So what they're doing with Sony is, so most sensors are just single stacked. So this is a double stack sensor. So it allows you to soak in much more light, less noise. So so like they have on the OnePlus Open, their 1/1.4 inch sensor can soak up as much light as a 1-inch sensor. Okay. So it might not get the depth of field, but a lot of the noise performance. So a lot of times, like, and Sony started doing this back with the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. So like, what was funny is I always could tell when there's a photographer watching my videos because they would hit me. I'm like, hey, because I'll leave like what the settings are that were used.
Okay.
Like, that was ISO 1250 on that. There was like no noise in that photograph. I'm like, man, I gotta buy. Where'd you buy this from? So
right. Well, you can tell. You can tell obviously with any time you're having an engagement with anybody in your channel is you can tell people who are about that life, right? Who know. Like I have no idea. Like I'm not even gonna feign ignorance about the fact, or I'm feign ignorance, or not lie that the fact that I just don't know much about those kinds of things. And I do, and that's why I rely really on Juan's book. And by the way,
great book.
Great book. If you're just learning photography, not necessarily on a phone, if you just want to know the concepts of light and rule of thirds and on a phone and how these work and all these raw, dude, check yourself. I don't think it's very much, I bought it years ago. I think,
and also you can get it like sometimes it's like $5 or whatever.
Yeah, so it's super cheap. And I mean, if you're doing any kind of, even if you're just kind of a casual photographer, you just want to get, we want to take better photos, which obviously is part of the title of the book, right? Pick up that book. Do yourself a favor.
I've got a request though. I want an audio book with Juan reading it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would take an audio book because that's kind of my thing, right? Reading puts me to
Juan
sleep.
Reading it out to me, like
Juan reading. Actually, we'll see somebody other than Juan reading it. Maybe he can contract one of his other voice actor friends. Maybe we can get somebody who's really famous to read it out. Like he can get like James Earl Jones or something to read his audio.
Funny.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. But yeah, check that out. But he talks about those kinds of concepts. So for me, and even I've read the book and I still struggle with it. So, but yeah, I know Barry can see when somebody's in the chat who's about that life. You can definitely.
Oh yeah, it's funny too because like there's I go to Disney a lot to take photos, or I go to it's called Disney Springs, so it's like you don't have to go all the way in the park, but it's still treated like the normal Disney, very beautiful. And there's this one place that I would love to be able to take, because I see Jermaine is able to take pictures of like some classic old buildings like this. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, right where you want to take the photo, there's like a little divot. And so basically so what you try to do a lot of times is like, let's say for instance, if you have lines or like a road that you want it, the line to, you'll be like in the middle of the road and the line is going all the way back. And it's leading you back to a point, right? Mm-hmm. So it would be perfect. And you can always tell like someone that's really not paying attention, they're just like, this is a nice area. They'll be, instead of it being straight back, it'll be like off to one side or whatever. Oh, okay. And that's like something that you'll learn in Juan's book,
Right.
So take advantage of leading lines, right? So,
right. And that's a cute, the cool part about his book, whereas it gets you over that hump where you're not more of a basic, more of an amateur.
Correct.
Where professional photographers can look at the scene and the framing and the shot and those kinds of rule thirds and all these little things. And then whereas a basic person is just taking photographs.
They're just taking photographs.
They're just taking photographs. They have no idea about composition, or they're not paying attention about light and angle, and they don't care, right? Yeah. But it's funny how if with just a little bit of knowledge, how that completely can change your photography. Same thing when I took an art appreciation class. Like I looked at paintings, I'm like, that's pretty, but then showing about how they use like foreground and how they, do shading and all. When you see that, and when they explain the paintings in such a way where they give you more context about why they're doing the things they're doing, and things that you're looking at, they've looked at probably a dozen times, and you're like, you don't even notice it until they explain why the artist is doing why they're doing it. And you're like, oh, and then you start seeing other paintings of different kinds of different compositions, and it's kind of interesting when you get a little bit of knowledge how it just opens up your eyes totally to things that you thought you saw but you really didn't see.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I had a teacher that would take us to museums, and I remember going to some art museums, and the people that actually knew what was going on, you'd be in front of a picture of a tree, and you're sitting there like, okay, all right, let me go to the next one, and someone like, oh my God, how do they do this? Can you believe this? I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a tree,
Right. Well, then you got some. It's just like, I go to some of these art museums, like in St. Louis, we have the St. Louis Art Museum, which is actually pretty famous. I guess in art circles. I didn't know this, but and you'd say it's like all white with a couple of black squares. And it's different mixed media, and you're like, I don't know. There's not much here to look at. I don't know what I'm missing here, right? But it's interesting how some of these are different mediums, right? Different, mixed media or ink, and the one it's just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's in the main hallway. It's just like this big rack of glass shards that have spilled on the floor. So there's just broken glass all over the floor. Mm-hmm. It's like metal, and it's really industrial looking. And I'm like, it just looks like something like a shelf you just knocked over, and then you just took a picture of it, and then you put it in an art museum. It's like, but it was interesting. So it's artistic, but I'm.
Yeah, like I admit where like I can do some photos, but when it comes to art, like real art, I still have a lot to learn.
Well, so do all of us actually, and that's why we have you on, because we like to learn, and we always seem to get. Me and Joe love having you on because we always seem to learn a little bit more than we knew before, because we're not professional.
I appreciate it.
Joe's just a professional, awesome hair guy, and I'm just.
Oh, thanks. I don't know if that's true, but I'll take it.
Absolutely. So Barry, what are you doing? And once you get those videos out, like, how does your work go with the channel? Like, so you'll get these videos out, and then I guess, are we moving on to? And I guess there's a gap. So what's coming?
Yeah, there's gonna be a gap, right? So there's gonna be a gap. So what I'll probably do is I've have a lot of creators or any people in the streams that have asked me. They're like hey, can you do a video on like how do you edit photos?
Okay.
So I want to kind of lean on answering a lot of those questions by doing videos. So that should help me fill the gap. And then
well as well, I think.
Yeah, and also like once I do stuff like that to kind of say, or well, when are times when we should be still using a mirrorless camera? So people have like, they don't go in blind, like, man, I took this to some environment that really you shouldn't have a phone, right? So I might do little videos like that. So yeah, you're right. I'm doing everything I can, like more camera tutorial type deals until the OnePlus 12 will come out.
The good thing about them videos as well, they're timeless, so they'll go for some time.
Exactly. Yeah. They're rewatchable.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, because it isn't dependent on the phone of that year.
Because
it's just basically how to take this or how to edit that. Now maybe the software changes, but that could last for. I mean, people may 2 or 3 years down the road be looking up how to do a thing, and your video comes up in that feed.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing. I tell I'm very lucky. Like I have relationships with you guys, a lot of people in this chat. Kimmy, LaShawn, Scoop, we understand, like we're as smaller creators, right, that you have to have something new if you want to get a lot of views, right? So you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's tough to, as you're small, to like, oh, I'm gonna show up late to this, hey, the OnePlus 12, I got it 2 months later. Who wants to hear my take? It's like someone happens to see my video, the one person that sees it. And the next person up is Flossie Carter or Marquez, or Austin Evans, whatever you name, put any big creator, that's what they're going to serve up. So yeah, it's good to have stuff that is evergreen, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, when it comes to like not necessarily the Marquezes of the world, but I'm talking more of like I want to call those mid tier, right? The people in that maybe 5 to 500,000 view kind of neighborhood. My question's always been is it just that they got there first? Like I don't.
Yeah. So exactly.
I don't know if that's the thing.
So
anymore.
this is the thing. This is the thing. So I had a long conversation with Juan. This is maybe a year and a half ago. And he actually said to me, he goes, he's like, you know, our job is to give the people the information, but we also have to do our diligence, right? To make sure we understand what we're talking about. We can convey it in a way. And his message, he was never like, cause that's a good question. That's where I would go. And he would be like, well, let's not worry about that. We can only worry about like what we can do. Because we have to put it, he goes, there is an advantage to being first, right? But we have to look at it from a different perspective. What can we do so when that person gets the eyeballs on your channel to make them stay, right?
Right.
So, and that's the one thing that like when El Jefe, he had looked at my channel, this was early on, and a lot of people that were watching my channel were watching like Josh Figuera, Techspert.
Right.
I'm looking at their videos. I'm like, dude, I got to up my quality because I'm not even talking about the content. I'm talking about just how it looked because I'm like, these guys have been doing this for years and like their videos look flawless, So.
Well, I guess my question is it because of the time they put in, or is it just strictly the fact that they've got the hardware, right? They've got a good camera, they got a good microphone. Yeah. Like I don't know what it is because I'm trying to watch these. I'm watching these video creators and I'm thinking, why is it that they have like Flossie doesn't change his thing, right? It's always the same thing. Right? And it's funny because he continues to grow. So everybody's like, well, you need to have a better camera and a better quality, better this, and better that. But it's like
it's all different.
I think it really is. I think it's different. The way I look at it is, it's been consistent who's recommended or who's watching my channel, like who watches what channel. Right. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to try to improve the lighting over and over, even so like that's one of the things I'm going to do like in December is redo a lot of that stuff, So since like if I was competing with Floss, I would keep everything the same. That's not to put him down, I just know he's not going to change, right? He's in his ways, right? But I know the people that they keep pointing me to are always, I just got this new I just got this new light. Right. It's better than everybody else's light.
I've got a soundboard. And I've got exactly. This, and I added more B-roll. I have less B-roll. I have more, it's scripted more. It's not scripted more. It's like, but then you look at somebody like, friend of the show, Adam, right? It's just him.
Oh yeah, it's just him talking. Yeah, exactly.
There's no ever like top down shots. There's no nothing. It's just 8 to 12 minutes of him just talking.
Yeah.
And honestly,
and that can work as well. And also he's consistent. That's the thing. Yeah. So that was one of the things. That's the challenge that I'm gonna for me is more consistency because I know the other videos take a lot, but getting to where I can just talk in front of the camera and like just say, hey, did you hear about the new MediaTek 9300? And get kind of videos out like that and see how that works on the channel.
You could do that easy, yeah. I think you could.
And we live in an age of doubting those, favor those who say game
changing. Simon is a game changer. Yeah.
Transformative, whatever.
The only phone you'll need, Simon. The only phone until my next video.
Until the next one. You sell that. And I've seen a lot of people. There's a couple of people that I noticed that have already returned their OnePlus Opens, and I asked them why, and they gave various reasons. Wi-Fi and some modem things and some software glitches or whatever. And it's just like, and I'm thinking to myself, I go, if you're doing that, you're only going to get a Samsung or an Apple device, or because you can't just go buy an Oppo or Vivo or Xiaomi or Realme at the store, right? And I just like, I don't know if they're just.
I can just say, so with my experience, I'm not sure if you guys have had experience with like anyone that or been to a store, but the Open is really it surprised me. Like there is no way like I could switch to I don't even want to look at a Samsung at this point.
I fell in love with it.
Yeah, it's really that good. And and they're all great phones. It's just they did all the little things. They got that right. So I would be if you hear me say, oh, it was a software thing or the form factor, it would be a lie. It's like I could. I just love it.
Like I said, I mean, and my question is, I understand that the software may be glitchy in some spots, but is it deal breaking? Right? Is it one of those things where it's
and I haven't had those issues. It's like I'm a OnePlus guy, so I've been using like the OnePlus 11 was my most used phone of the year. Right. So and probably the second might be, if I go look at total time, it's probably the Oppo Find X6 Pro. So I'm very familiar with the software. So I haven't had any issues, but yeah, it would be hard for me to give up this phone.
Absolutely. And since we're all talking about that,
hey, check him out! Check him out! I was so happy when you told me.
I got me flippy.
Joe, you're looking down. Look.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is awesome.
Show me that outer screen though. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And he got such a great deal on it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like
you couldn't walk away from that deal.
No, and well, the funny thing is, and even the Samsung, the Flip 5 was on sale. I mean, like how you are, Barry, with OnePlus. I'm kind of I'm a Moto guy.
Yeah,
I love Moto. I don't know why.
Moto is
this never gets old.
Yeah.
That doesn't get old.
Yes,
ever.
Exactly.
See? I don't care what anybody says.
Moto, you're hearing this?
Yeah, you can do it.
Get the phone free.
Right, absolutely.
And
And then this closed. Yeah.
Boom.
Chop.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Like I said, I'm very glad that Samsung improved the Flip 5. I'm very glad.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
but
still
they
probably
only
at the
did
Razr.
it because of Moto.
Oh yeah, I agree.
If this wasn't on the market, Samsung would have kept giving you. And then I like the fact that Moto gave a budget version with the Flip 4 kind of thing, right? They gave you one if you want to get the Snapdragon 7 Gen, right? You get a little bit bigger battery, you get a couple of things. But I'm telling you, man, it's cool that I don't have to open this phone at all now. And the funny part is, the other night I went and took the dogs out. Right? I went down the thing and I just went, and I didn't even take the phone out. I just use this as a flashlight.
Flashlight as well.
Oh yeah,
dude, yeah.
And I use a flashlight on my phone all the time.
Yeah, it's great because then I had the leashes in one hand, and then I just did this, and I was just like, and when I was done, I just jam and then jam. And it's like, dude,
I'm the guy who turns all the lights off downstairs.
Right.
When I come up to bed. So yeah.
Oh yeah, me too.
Oh yeah.
But that's when I bought the Hue. I want the Hue lights so that I can turn them all off from. Yeah, see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm always the last guy. Well, it's dads. If you're a dad, you're the lights guy, right? Because nobody in your house does that, right? Everybody leaves lights on.
Guys.
They walk.
Have you seen Old Dads?
No.
Oh, what's that film?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so if you're a father in the house, you know who you are. Your life is about shutting lights off and going, why is the lights on here? Nobody's in this room. Why do we have the lights on? Yeah, it happens every time in my house. So yeah, but I mean, I do notice though that when you do open it, I've only had it a day, and I don't want to say the hinge is creaky, but it's definitely not it doesn't feel as smooth.
Okay. Yeah, they did make a change with that hinge.
Yeah, it's kind of like, the other day it was kind of like, and then for half a second it doesn't seem to be totally flat, and you have to kind of, if you give it a little bit of a, I don't want to say force, but if you kind of move it a bit,
get flat. Yeah,
it gets flat. But but I mean, I love it. It's just so, I mean, it's just
the hinge is like your knee.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, it's just creaky and pops a lot. Yeah, actually, no, I'm okay. But yeah, how
is your knee actually?
Actually, except for the swelling, I can't get the damn swelling anymore. Well, I wouldn't call it swollen. I think it's compared to my right knee, it's more swollen than the other, but it's not obstructing any. I can still bend it just fine. There's no pain. And actually, I haven't had any pain since the surgery. That was the cool part, and that's all I care about. Like, I'm not a leg model, so I don't care if my left knee is a little bit of
weather will be a bit of a test on it.
Well, yeah. Well, I had the surgery in February, so yeah, I'm gonna wait and see. This is my first, like, from December to February, kind of seeing how it's gonna go. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna actually go ice skating, and for the first time probably in a couple of years. Of course, I'm gonna wear a brace because Becky's making me wear a brace. But I'm gonna actually skate, and I'm actually gonna do some like skate backwards and crossover, like all the stuff I used to do when I played hockey. Right, I'm gonna try to see if I can do that, and if I can, I'm going to be.
Sam.
I'm going to be stoked.
Put your flippy dippy in a tripod position, and I want to see some footage of this skating.
Of me skating. Yeah. Actually, what I'll probably have Becky do is she'll bring her phone with her and she'll record me doing some skating around. So
that'd be cool.
And I'll post it. Yeah. I mean, it's again I haven't skated.
So where'd you grow up, Sam?
St. Louis.
Really? So they okay. Yeah. So that okay. All right. Yeah. So I have a friend. She's from Canada, but she's now between Canada and Boston, but she went to Boston University. But her daughter, when she had a second practice and she was up in Canada, her daughter was like 5 or 6, got noticed, and she sent me the tapes, and I was like shocked because if you look at the daughter, she looked like she would never want to do sports at all, right? She's going to be, I want to do a fashion, even at 5, she looks, I'm going to be a fashion model. And super fast, and apparently over there, they see that. Like, there's people scouting, like, whenever you put skates on a kid. And they're like, we need her immediately.
Right. And they're going to put some hockey skates on. Exactly. Skates. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a big deal, but there are kids that are up at 3 and 4 years old pond hockey and lures, and I mean they're, and watching them skate around. Actually, I'll tell you who the best skaters are on the ice. Fun fact: it's usually the refs. What the refs have to do in the NHL to be able. I mean, their skating ability is they're crazy. Sense. Yeah, they're crazy. So obviously they're calling pet. Well, I mean, you live in the UK. Actually, the interesting part is I think there are club teams in the UK now. It's starting to, I think it's I wouldn't call it popular compared to the other sports, right? But
the standard's probably pretty poor.
Well, and the funny thing is, Barry, that situation with that guy that got his throat cut, that happened in the UK. People don't realize that was in a club. That was a club team in the UK. This guy was playing. He wasn't in the NHL, and then actually you wound up charging that guy. By the way, so we'll see how that goes. But that was funny because that was actually in the UK. That was they were playing a club team.
Messed up, man.
If I watched what I think is the video, and I'm like,
I don't watch it.
I don't want to say it was totally accidental. I don't think he tried to kill the guy, but I don't think it was totally him just falling down. The way it looked like
it was kind of.
Well, I'm getting knocked over, so why not? But this guy's coming up and it's going to kick my leg out in the end. But which is not the funny because that's not the first time a player got his throat cut. If you want to go back and you can Google this, Darcy Wakaluk, he was a goaltender. I believe it's for the Buffalo Sabres. It was probably late 80s, early 90s. He was in the crease and guys fell up and he got his throat cut. It was in the middle of a game. And just, I mean, it was bad. Luckily, it didn't kill him. But that's not the first time a person gets their throat cut with a skate blade. Yeah, and that's why neck guards, man, folks. I mean, I know they look goofy. I know they're not comfortable. I know it's not cool looking, but man, neck guards,
it's safety first, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy now, especially with the speed that these guys are skating now. It's pretty crazy. So. But this will be my first time skating in a few years. So I'm actually excited about it.
Yeah, I want to see video, definitely. Joe, I found something interesting this morning, right? I'll ask you guys it. Do you know in 1938, that's when Samsung came about? Do you know what they opened as?
It's going to be something weird. I think they're like bicycle makers or something like that.
No, grocery store.
Oh, grocery store. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at Nintendo, right? Did they have
Nintendo,
weren't they like pachinko machines and board games?
I think so. I think it was more like for a gambling type deal or whatever.
Right. So and look, I know it's crazy, right? And then now they're like, they're the anti-gambling, the all wholesome kind of company. Right?
Yeah. I love history like that, though.
Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you. Speaking of games, I the other day I was going through the PlayStation store just looking to see what was kind of available. And I mentioned this on Gigi's podcast. They had the making of Karateka or whatever. And if you're
so I gotta watch that. Yeah. So I played that game like crazy growing up, but I didn't. So when you were showing it, I didn't make the connection that they had the history of Karateka or Karateka.
Yeah, and I was like, I just summoned through it, and it starts. It's like So it's like I'll share it. So here's what it is. Well, first of all, I saw it and I was like, I immediately stopped what I was doing. I was like, oh shit. For a person like me who's an old game head, it was like, oh man, come on now. So here it is for those in the channel. So that's the actual game.
Okay, I gotta check that out.
So what it is it's the creator. His name is Jordan, right?
Jordan Mechner.
Yeah, Jordan Mechner created this in school. So he was going to, I think he was going to either, was it Yale or Harvard or something like that. He was going to an Ivy League school, but he didn't want to do it. And he started writing games, and he came up with a couple of games that were, one was an Asteroids ripoff, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And he got cease and desist on it. And then he had this other game he made, and then he started to do this game. And this game came out in like 1984. So you have to understand, it's like, I mean, it was like a big deal. It was on the original,
especially with the way the movements looked, very fluid,
just the way, And I never knew why. Like, how was this able to be coded? I was like, this guy must
four
be four
total
coder.
colors. Like
And
there's
so
not many colors that you could choose from. It's like
right. And I forgot that Jordan Mechner actually was the creator of the Prince of Persia series. So I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a wild. It's kind of like, I would call it. It really is a documentary. It's like a making of, but then you got the games themselves. So his original, like the beta version of this game, and then these other games he created, and and it's fascinating. It's him and his father talking about the music. And if you're an old school game person,
I gotta check that out.
Ever played this game, please do yourself. It's $15. It was like $14.99 on PlayStation. Please buy this and download it. I'm telling you, I was like, I didn't want to go to bed. I had to go to bed because it was like midnight.
This is just
wow, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're an older person, you'll get it. If you're a younger person, this game doesn't launch for, or doesn't land for you. Do yourself a favor, play this game anyway. Just
I was gonna say, give it a go anyway, because
you'll enjoy it.
Because it's enjoyable. And first of all, it doesn't take that long. I think you can probably beat it in like maybe 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take long, but man, I'm telling you, if you're an old school game person, you remember playing this game on like, when you're like 10 or 11 years old on a Commodore 64 or an Atari, I'm telling you, man, I saw
Apple IIc for me.
An Apple IIc. Yeah. Just played this game, and they have a remake of it. So they actually have a modern version of it, and it's pretty good too. So it's interesting to see like what he had to do to get this modeling done and coding it. It's amazing what he had to do to get this done.
Yeah,
it just goes to show you that that's when game making, you had to really be creative.
You really had to be passionate about games, because you did not have a lot of hardware compute power to work with back then.
No, God, no. And then also sound, right? You had no sound. Basically,
sound was garbage. You didn't have many colors, color palette. You couldn't put a lot of sprites on the screen. So there was not, like you couldn't have, so you had to be very creative back then.
Right. And what's cool is he looks like he's running here, but the fact that movement is basically, if you notice that the game, it can't do it at the same time. So it stops doing it to do. And also, I didn't notice about this, but because it's the use of, I forgot what they call it, where it's like you're running and then they're running at you, and then you're running at them, and you're running, it goes back and forth. It's a cinematic.
It was cinematic. So they had I think they had slight parallax scrolling, but they had that cinematic balance between your perspective and their perspective, which just took it to a whole nother level.
So it gave tension to the game.
And then like he would like you start running, and then they would start running a little slow, like tap tap tap, and then you would hear it fast. It's like
It was just wild. And then also hearing about how he had to basically get told no, and he was working with Broderbund, and it's a fact. If you're into any classic video games, please do yourself a favor, check this out. And we're not sponsored by them. I just saw this, and as an old school gamer, this just made my heart sing. To see
this isn't quite as old. I mean, this is definitely not as old, but this morning I rewatched Snatch. And my son sat down like midway through, and it made me so happy. Like when the movie ended, he was like, "Man, this movie was really outstanding." And I was like, "Yeah, it doesn't have to be like a movie right now. Like Guy Ritchie was killing it for years."
Man,
that's a rewatch movie as well. That's why you can.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, anytime it comes on, I watch it. Anytime it comes on, it's just with Brad Pitt playing.
Oh, Brad Pitt was
it's just so good. It's just the whole thing is good. And Bricktop, and the whole thing is great. I still like the Nemesis. You know,
the Nemesis. Yeah.
There's so many lines in that movie.
Oh,
you know, how many more minutes? 5 minutes, sir. She's like,
it was
how many more minutes in the sausages?
It was 2 minutes, 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes, Turkish. And for a person like me, who's an American, who you don't get into all the slang and the terms and all that. You know, before I met Matt and Joe, I was kind of like, I thought I knew a lot about the UK as far as their culturally, but really you don't until you start watching these movies and then you start talking to these guys, and it's like, oh, geez.
Well, man. my wife is still she remembers, because I probably embarrass her a little bit, but so the thing is, I watched the trailer because I was a big Guy Ritchie fan, so I watched the trailer so many times. When I got into the movie theater, I understood everything that Brad Pitt was saying.
Right.
So what was funny was in the scenes that were kind of light and he was talking, I could see other people's faces and they're just like, what is he? I don't know what he's talking about, and they was
there's no subtitles.
So I'm laughing at what he's saying, and then I'm laughing that they can't get it and all that stuff. So I enjoyed myself there.
There's a Periwinkle Blue. It's like,
yeah.
What did he say?
Layer cake.
Yeah. No.
I've seen Layer Cake.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, check that out.
I'll check that out. That out.
I think you'll enjoy it as well.
Yeah. Was by Guy Ritchie as well, or?
No.
Oh, I'll check it out.
Let me see. I don't know who it's by. Layer Cake. Let me have a look.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
2004 it came out.
Okay.
Daniel Craig. Okay. Sienna Miller. Okay.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy. Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, there's a big cast in there. But yeah, it's very good.
So yeah, it was. And if you're a person who is really into gaming and old school gaming, and the funny thing is that he addresses the karate. I always call it karateka.
And what does he say?
So apparently he says you can say it any way you want because he doesn't care. But however, in Japanese there is no inflection to the words. So it's the way it's supposed to be said is karateka. Right?
Oh,
it's just there's no karateka, karate. Okay. There's no. It's just right. So karateka. Yeah.
So we were saying. So everybody was saying it wrong.
We all suck. Apparently, we all missed out. But it's funny because you're listening to people, because there are people on the video who are talking right about the influence on them and stuff like that. And it's funny because even they call it different stuff: karateka, karateka. I mean, it's funny how people just say it completely wrong. And he addresses the fact that basically it's like, yeah, it's really none of that. It's really karateka. I was like, okay, cool.
I gotta listen to it too because the music as well.
Oh yeah.
To me, that back then that was pretty. Especially now that I learned he was a student. To have some of the sounds that you remember, the rest, like I still remember the sounds from that game.
Oh yeah, and then just how his father and his sister. So his dad wrote all the music. Because he's apparently
okay.
Not only is he a composer, but he was like, I mean, he's brilliant. Like he's a composer, and the problem is what it is I think on the Apple IIe, there is no sound. It's actually it's the sound of the actual module. The module go. He's making the module make noise. It's not supposed to make noise, so that's why. Right, okay. And he's making it. He had to code it to make the actual module vibrate. That's what the sound is. It really isn't even a speaker. So, and obviously, when you get to the Commodore 64 and he got to the older versions, and then when they put it on older Ataris, they had a soundboard and you could make
they could actually noise. Do stuff.
But the original is like basically making the module vibrate. Is how they did it. It was completely bonkers. How they got this to work. It's wild. Like I said, if you're a fan of video game history and just anything, and the limitations that he had to work with now as compared to when people make games now, it's not even close. It's might as well be the Stone Age versus space travel. It's completely it's nuts. Yeah, it's pretty good. So I of course I had it on my phone. And I still have the game on my phone, so I was playing it.
Yeah, it's a great game.
So the thing is, building environments for the games now is what's so complex.
Correct. But they still have an advantage, right? Because a lot of it are done by like Unreal, like these engines that create a lot.
Right.
That's right, yeah.
So then they just have to slap layers on top of it. So
yeah, absolutely. And Adita's in the chat. What did he say? Completely
Bullet Train.
Bullet Train.
Oh yeah, Bullet Train.
I need to watch that.
I mean, I make
never
sure
seen
that
that.
Bullet Train wasn't that the one with who was the main character? I think Brad Pitt was in it. If I'm not mistaken. Can you answer that in detail? I want to make sure I'm talking about the same one.
Let's see.
2022 it come out, and Brad Pitt,
It says Brad Pitt.
isn't it? Yep.
Yep, I saw.
Oh,
it.
okay.
It was good.
I've seen, wait, is that the? I've seen like videos
Zazie
of
Beetz
it where
is in there as well.
he's making fun of somebody, and they basically tell him to shut the fuck up or whatever. Yeah, he's like sitting in the train, and he's in the seat, and he's making some
Yes.
kind of comment, and somebody tells him something, and he's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
It's pretty good.
Absolutely. So, man, it's going to be an interesting time. I think 2024 is obviously, as consumers, we're going to have lots of phones, lots of stuff to talk about. Obviously, we don't get into even like laptops and tablets and PCs and all that kind of stuff. But it's going to be an interesting time. Maybe, well, I don't know, but maybe we can get a phone that will maybe dislodge Eric from rocking that V60. Just maybe. I doubt it.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'd say we got a 50-50 chance. I don't think so. He loves him that LG, and I do too. To be fair, I give him trouble, but he's right. I mean, a lot of the things he says, it's like LG. The things I miss about that. But we'll see. Maybe in 2024, we might get.
Maybe
a phone.
someone can get a complete replacement.
Maybe we can get you something. We don't
I think
know.
it's the
Probably
year I need
not.
to try Xiaomi.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
You can
Xiaomi.
try.
Yeah, and the thing about it, Xiaomi too, they have a lot of global options as well. So
I think it's the year I need to try one.
Absolutely. I mean, it's. I had a Mi 11, and I took that. Like I said, I took that on the trip to Puerto Rico, and that's one of the few phones I ever regret getting rid of. I really loved using it. The pictures were great. I liked the software experience. The vegan leather back was great.
It's Hyper OS now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hyper OS. Yeah, it's very similar to MIUI. The way they broke it down is they did some stuff in the background, and that it's sort of like if you look at the Google Assistants, like the Google Homes, they run Fuchsia OS. Yeah. So Hyper OS can run all their products pretty much.
Yeah.
The lifestyle products and stuff like that. Correct. Yeah. Yep. So,
absolutely. The ecosystems.
The ecosystems, yeah.
Well,
apparently,
so it makes it easier for them, right, to create, but you should probably get the same look and feel MIUI with it.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, if you get, especially with you being in the UK, you should be able to pick one up, and a lot more easier than it is in the United States. Especially,
I want the Ultra though, right?
Oh yes.
Well, I mean, you might as well if you're gonna go with Xiaomi, you might as well get the Ultra because why not? So. Well, anyways, I'll let you know how. So far, it's only been 24 hours, but I'm really,
that looks good.
I'm feeling the flippy dippy, so I'm
still
excited about
the video, Sam.
Yeah, this will be a good time.
Tech project needs a video.
Yeah, this will be a good time.
I might actually have to make a video, so I'll give it.
For you if you want.
You might have to actually do more than edit because it might be terrible. I don't even have anything to really record it with.
Have you seen the stuff I put out? Don't worry about it.
It's pretty good. It's honestly pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good.
It's not.
Absolutely. So yeah, maybe this will be the phone I put a video out.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It's matte on the back, and I'm excited.
And it's got ready for her as well. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance to really mess with that yet. I just had to set it up, but I like it. I mean, I was like I said, I just love
doesn't have.
No, I don't know why they don't give it to the Flip.
Well, and Samsung makes it something some kind of a technical problem. You can't be. It's got the right RAM and it's got the processor. What is it that makes Dex work? It's the processor.
I agree.
It's the same processor. I mean, I'm sorry.
Understand.
I don't buy that. If Moto can put not only ready for wirelessly.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that Samsung can't put Dex on a Flip.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just BS. I'm sorry. I'm not. Yeah, and Eric's right. It is a good time to make a video.
I think it would be a good video.
I'll give it a try.
Yeah,
I'll give it a try. Me and Joe need to work together.
What they want, Sam.
I don't think anybody.
What it is, I think it's good to have, especially when we're passionate about. We definitely have, I'm passionate about OnePlus. You're passionate about Motorola. To have that perspective out there is great.
And it's not enough Moto content.
There really isn't
people
enough
that actually are passionate.
That will actually use it and not just. All right, got this obligation to do. All right, next phone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And just like Eric said, Samsung is stupid. They want people. Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is, Eric.
I think that's what they're just stupid. They're just stupid. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. So absolutely.
Stupid does.
Right.
Yeah.
Hello, Mister. Yeah. Anyway, so I need to make I'll make a video. I promise. I will do that. I'll give it a try. And And if it sucks, who cares? It'll be like pretty much like my 3 years of podcasting. It's not exactly great. So
no, you do.
What
you
the
do
hell?
a good job. Yeah.
No, Sam, I'm not having that because
you do a great job.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, maybe we'll give it maybe like a weekend or 10 days in.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like that. Yeah, so far I'm really excited. But yeah, I did notice that when you open the flips, when I had the Flip 4, it's a lot smoother. And I was like, the other day, I even opened up, I was like, it sounds kind of crunchy. And it's like, who cares? It's fine. Whatever. It's fine. But I mean, as far as like the using everything, it's fantastic. I really dig it. So we'll see. But yeah, maybe Joe, cool. You're gonna have to help me out, Joe, because I'm gonna need some editing help for sure.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll try.
Well, you'll do a good job, Joe.
We'll just give it our try. So that's it. So again, Barry, man, thank you so much. I realize that on a Sunday afternoon, it's always a family day, and we realize that
No, I appreciate you guys having me.
Podcasts during the week,
this is great.
And we're looking forward to, and so we'll make sure we put the show notes. I mean, everybody in the chat obviously is probably fans of yours and goes to your channel, but we'll put the show notes so that way when you get the videos out there, go give some love to Barry because he does great work.
That.
And you have to you can be a big time creator, but you just gotta, again, I like going to Barry's videos because they're always calming and he always just talks. Yep. And I just feel like I'm getting information, but I also don't feel like there's any kind of there's no music or banter or ridiculousness. It's just straightforward and calming and informative and fantastic. And we like that. So that's it.
I appreciate it.
One last
Absolutely.
Thing,
yes, sir.
Right, Extreme Sense. Extreme Sense.
To Dan.
Happy birthday to Dan and happy birthday to Extreme Sims.
Right. Extreme Skins. Happy birthday. I don't know when you guys started. Skin your shit. And anyway, so yeah, I need to reach out to him. And for some reason, my skin is still stuck at Langley. I don't know if they're shut down on a labor strike.
Stuck there as well.
Right. Apparently, they're having some issue getting things out. I mean, it's taken months to get stuff out of there. So I don't. Obviously, that has nothing to do with the folks at Extreme Skins. They shipped it out the same day. But apparently. Yeah.
Every Friday, he's doing. I'm going to call it Twitter because I can't call it X. He's doing a Twitter space every Friday, 9 p.m.
That's right.
GMT, with some cool guys as well. So if you ever want to jump in there and have a listen, I recommend it. The first episode was really good.
Yes,
I enjoyed it.
Yes, I have a stuck skin.
Stuck skin.
That's right. I have a stuck skin. Sir, pause. Right? Yeah, exactly. It's stuck in the UK. I didn't know I was in the UK, but apparently my skin's in the UK. So,
I think it made it onto a boat, and then the boat sunk, and your skin's gone, mate.
It Titanic. Yeah, it's in the bottom of the North Atlantic. Titanic. So yeah, Titanic on me. So anyways, it's all good. So maybe one day, once I get my skin for my OnePlus 10 Pro, by the way. But yeah. If you go check them out, they're a great group of folks over there. Go skin your shit and tell them we sent you. And
Barry, anything you want to say?
For me, hey, just make sure you tune in every Sunday to this because we need to support. All of us here, probably in this chat, except for Easy, are still on the smaller side. So I think we need to support each other so that we can all grow together.
Absolutely. And as we'll make sure we put our notes in the chat. We'll make sure we get Barry's channel out there. Give him a sub, give him a like, show some love, make a comment, and really get that. And share those videos and let everybody know because Barry does great work. Definitely. And he's going to have some more stuff coming at the end of this year and also for 2024 that we're looking forward to. So we appreciate you. And thanks for coming on as always, Barry. We always love having you on, and you are always welcome. Anytime you can. We always appreciate it. All right, Joe, get a haircut and go fuck yourself.
Wednesday.
And Wednesday. Oh, you have an appointment.
No, not the fucking myself. The
you have an appointment for your haircut. Yeah, that's bougie. Okay.
Yeah, man. Well, it's go online and book it. But
right.
I don't.
Is it a barber?
I just say whoever's available.
Okay. So you just go to the same. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, that's fine. Just get your hair cut. Anyway, so that's the show for Sunday, the 19th of November, 2023. Again, check us out next Sunday. I don't know if we have a guest. We probably don't. That's fine. But if we don't,
a guest.
Yeah, we'll find one.
Well, according to Joe, we'll have a guest.
Yeah, well, there's loads of people want to come on here, mate. Loads.
There you go.
Loads. I'll leave it up to you, Joe. You're my man. So for myself, for Joe Hickey, for Barry Johnson, thanks for tuning in to the Nomad Tech Project with Sam and Joe. We'll be back next Sunday. We'll do some great content, great chats, and remember, enjoy your tech. Stay safe, hydrated, and be excellent to each other. We'll catch you next Sunday on the Nomad Tech Project with Sam and Joe. Take care, everybody. See you next Sunday.
Check out my short. Peace.
Yeah, check out the shorts.